Hello everybody, welcome to quarantine workout number 45, brought to you by ZioFIT Elite. So what does it mean to be elite? To be elite is to be among the best in your particular field, whatever it is that you choose to dedicate your time and energy into, to becoming very proficient and then ultimately focused on becoming elites. You know, it's a building block. You don't just decide one day to be the best at something and then you are. You decide that you want to put the work in to become the best, and then you focus your training on the basic fundamentals of whatever it is. It could be corporate tax law, or it could be swimming, or it could be playing flute or violin. Whatever it is, you gotta master the fundamentals if you want to break into that upper echelon. So although many of you out there might not be seeking to become some type of elite athlete, the principles of elitism that we work on here is the mastering of basic technique, basic forms. And I always try to impress that point at the beginning of every training session by putting the focus into the warm-up activities, the technique of the walkouts, and in particular the basic but very clearly defined techniques of the corrective squats. I love the corrective squats as an example of a simple thing that you can decide to do excellently and at a very, very high level. And that's what you build on. You master the simple things and then you build on top of those things, right? So with that in mind, we start our general warm-up. Once you get through that general warm-up, we're going to go into 10 and 10. The walkouts that we're going to do today, we're going to load them up with push-ups again. You're going to start with 1, and then you're going to add a rep each time, working up to 10. So it's a total of 55 push-ups, but spread out. So you walk out, nice plank here. You got your 1 push-up, great form. Then the next one you come out, you're going to do 2 with excellent technique again. And as you go, if the load of push-ups starts to become a little bit much for you to handle, go ahead, drop down to the knees. I want to keep my technique good, and that means straight body, and that means full range. So if I gotta, as I'm working, if I gotta come out to this plank, then drop down to my knees and do that push-up from my knees, so that I'm not doing some kind of thing like this or whatever it is you might be doing, then that's what you do. But make sure that you are working on mastering a basic technique, right? The fundamentals of becoming elite. As you're going, if you do have to drop to the knees at some point to complete that full range rep, keep track of where that happened. And so the next time we do this, you can be aware that maybe you're lasting a little bit longer, right? And you can see and measure that you're improving. Corrective squats, a 4-part move. 1, 2, 3, and 4, maintaining great contact, equal contact, 360 degrees around the feet, feeling like your feet are stuck to the ground with magnets. After that, go for that iso cuff circuit. That iso cuff circuit, that's the 4 different angles on the shoulder, and then the internal and external rotation, just working that isometric contraction for 6 breaths, release before moving on to the next angle. Finish that up, and then we'll get into some warm-up work. All right, so we're going to start off with some body weight. First thing we're going to do, single leg glute bridge, but we're going to do 10 on one side, then 10 on the other side. So I want you to focus on keeping that straight leg stable. You're going to be dorsiflexed. Both of your feet should be dorsiflexed here, straightening the quad. That's one of the reasons that you dorsiflex, is because when you activate this anterior side, then this also is the anterior side. That's going to increase your ability to activate these muscles. So if I'm soft here, it's going to soften up my quad a little. I'm going to pull that toe up. That's going to help my quads engage. I'm right here, opened up, pressure of the wrists, pressure on the elbows, pressure on the low spine, right? Engage. You're going to come up, drive. For 10, then switch, reset. Go for 10 on that side as well. After that, we're gonna do SPHINX dolphin kick jump. So this is something that I built on that SPHINX kick that we borrowed from yoga. So you're starting off in this SPHINX pose right here, and your feet now should be plantar flex. So you're laying the tops of your feet on the ground. You use your abs. First of all, you're pushing your chest forward. You use your abs to peel yourself up. You lift your hips up, you're on your knees. Now from here, I'm gonna push up into a dolphin kick, and there's two different variations. So first variation, I'm just gonna pop up, and I don't wanna let my hips go up too high. I wanna do this quick pop, and I'm gonna jump up onto my toes, right? Then I'm gonna go ahead, set that back down, and release knees, hips, then the abs, then push the chest, right? So it's this peel up, and then the next part's quick, and then you lay yourself back down. Now, the variation here, to make it a little bit more exciting, is I want my elbows right below my shoulders here and my hands in the ground. What I'm gonna do now, same thing, I'm gonna engage the abs, peel the abs up, lift the hips up, lift the thighs up, and then I'm gonna pop up here onto the hands, and then back down, release, release, and back into that SPHINX position. So you're gonna go 10 of those. From there, you got side plank dips. I was already in a good position for that. Palm is up, stack yourself up. You got 20 here. And then let's see it from the front as well. Stacked up. Don't want to have the hips out, right? Right here. Don't want to be twisting one way or the other. Nice and stable. Stack the shoulders, stack the hips. Lower yourself to the ground, then snap back up. It's always control and boom. Always want to be finding the ground and then snapping back into alignment. So you're going to use that same technique on the glute bridge, right? Lower yourself down, find the ground with your hips, and then snap back up into alignment. You're going to use that same technique, that same principle on the side plank dips as well. Okay, now circuit number 2, time to work a little bit of power. Circuit number 2, we're going to go through 7 to 10 rounds. Now, I want you to go to 10 rounds. If you do this and you go 10 rounds, you're going to get some reps in. You are going to feel very, very strong. And you're going to feel a little bit more sore tomorrow. But if push-ups are not really something that you're great at, if you don't have a ton of arm strength yet, then you may choose to do 7 because you might just be falling apart. No matter how you vary the exercise, if you find yourself just falling apart on the 7th round and you can't hold your form together and you feel like you're starting to get diminishing returns because you can't hold your technique, then you might stop at 7. But other than that, push and get through the 10 rounds, okay? We are working some power, we're working some strength here, and getting through those extra rounds, that's gonna give you that extra edge. But again, remember, you gotta be able to master the fundamentals, and if you can't hold together your fundamental technique, then you're better off just calling it. 7 is still a pretty solid amount of rounds. That would be a C, right? C passes, it's average, right? You can be average, that's fine, or you can push to be above average. If you're average today, then make sure that you're pushing to become above average next week or the week after that, but always working on improving. All right, first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna start with the power hip. So you're using the TRX here or that DIY suspension system that there's no excuse that you shouldn't have put together by now. Follow the link and get it figured out. Get that sorted, no excuses. So what we're doing here is power hip. Gonna go back, sit down into it, chest is up. This is really similar to a backstroke start. I'm gonna drive with my legs, I'm gonna drive with my hips, and as I drive with my hips, I'm gonna open up into this Y, and I'm gonna pull on the strap, and I want my shoulders to be down and back here, all right? So when I do this move, you'll see why it's called power hip, because there's gonna be some speed from the hips. Always control. See, I'm supporting my weight right now. I'm not slack up at the top. See how this is slack? Like a hammock that's been owned by an old fat guy for a long, long time. You don't want that hammock. Get yourself something nice and new and taut. Right? So back, gonna come up. Boom. You want to have that hip speed and that great feeling of tension in your back. All right, so you go for that for 6. After that, you got plyo push-up. Plyo push-up, you're gonna go 12, doing this staggered push-up. So I'm gonna start neutral. I'm gonna jump into that staggered position, and then each rep is gonna switch. Going for 12. If I got to go down from the knees, I can go from the knees. If I'm going to go from the wall, you can use the wall. A consideration with the wall is because of the angle here, you got to let your head get pretty close to that wall. Otherwise, you're not going to get any kind of depth. But make sure that you know where your head is and don't start banging your head against the wall. You're going to put some dents in the wall, and that's not good for resale value. So keep your walls intact, know where your head is, but do get your head pretty close to the wall so that you're not shortening up on your range too much. All right, after that, you're gonna go into bent bicep curls using the stretch cord for this one. So remember, the bent curl, my range here, if I'm standing straight up, my elbows are at my side, this is what I'm doing from here to here, right? Not up here like this, not here like this, right? Not bringing the elbows forward. So then I just take this and I add that bend into it. So I'm changing the angle of my spine relative to my hips, right? Nothing has changed except for my posture, right? But my shoulder position relative to my ribs, relative to my spine, that stays constant. So I walk this out nice and strong. You want to have good speed and good control on the release. And you go for 24 of those. So make them strong, but those last 10 reps, you should really be starting to get a little bit worried about your ability to finish, okay? If you gotta back it up and ease up a little bit to be able to finish as you go from round to round, then you go ahead and you do that, but don't start off weak. Start off a little bit more aggressive and kind of see where your limits are, right? Trial and error, but push it so you can figure it out early on. That way you're getting the most out of it as you possibly can. After that, we're going to overhead tricep extensions. Again, using the TRX or your DIY suspension system here. And bring the hands back, press up, right? Keeping this good alignment. You want to be in this position, right? Bicep curl, I was in this position. Tricep extension, I'm in this position. Bring the elbows back, but not bringing the elbows forward. So bring the hands back, I should say, but not bringing the elbows forward, okay? And keeping the spine nice and straight. You want your hinge to be down at your toes, not at your hips, right? So keep the body nice and firm, nice and strong, nice straight plank. Got it? From there, last thing you got is pull and twist. Reps on those tricep extensions, by the way, going 12. You're welcome. Last thing though, pull and twist, we're going 24 reps again. So this one, you remember you pull knuckles together and I rotate back. I'm always looking back over the shoulder. I want to watch the knuckles to the shoulder and then look beyond. Keep the feet pointing forwards. And this is another one where I want to keep tension in the strap. I don't want to come up and jerk here because then I'm not engaged on the twist. So pull with control. This last move, you should be torquing your way up on that last bit. You don't want to make this a power move. This is not like a power hit, right? Here, I want to stay in control, and this part of the move is really a kicker right here, where you're working that twist. Whoa, lost my foot there for a second. So make sure you're making this the strength and control move that it should be. There you go, 7 to 10 rounds of that. Have fun. All right, hold on just a sec. We're not done quite yet. Get excited. Last thing we got, we're gonna work some sprints. Some very, very short sprints, so don't be afraid. We're gonna do 10 different sprints. What we're gonna do here is the first 1 through 6, you're gonna do 20 steps. 7 is gonna be 30, 8 is gonna be 40, 9 is gonna be 50, and then 10 is gonna be 60. So that's the number of steps you're taking. And what I would like you to do is to go from a 3-point stance. So set yourself up in this stance right here, hand on the ground. See, it's the right knee forward, left hand forward. So everybody's got their dominant leg. Whichever leg is gonna be dominant and forwards, it's that other hand that's on the ground. You're gonna come up, extend the legs, reach back, look straight down, and when it's time to go, boom, you're gonna get out, get after it, keep the head down, come up through the first 10 strides, and then for the next 10 strides, be nice and tall. Really swing those arms, stay focused, eyes forward, all right? When you come back, so you go in your 20, 30, 40, 50, or 60 steps out. After you finish that, decelerate, and then just walk back. You know, you can shake it out, stretch a little as you go. Once you get back to your starting position, just take a little bit of rest. So for the first 6, when it's only 20 steps, don't take more than 30 seconds rest once you get back to the mark. Use that 30 seconds to maybe take a sip of water, focus, shake it out, and be ready to be explosive right out of the gates, right? As you go though, for number 7, 8, 9, and 10, you might need to start taking a little bit more rest. So 7 with 30, I might come back and take 45. The next one's 40, I might take a minute. Next one's 50, I might take 2 minutes before the last one, 60. 60 strides is gonna take you pretty close to 100 yards. All right, so you're getting yourself ready for a 100-yard strong run at the end there. All right, so get ready, get excited. This is a great way to finish your workout. Woo! With some sprints, baby!